Hey guys, what's going on? Brandon here, Whitetail Therapy. It is, I think, the last day of June, and out here going to sling a few arrows. Hadn't shot in several weeks. It has been miserably hot here, so but that's on me. But anyway, we're here going to sling a few arrows, and then we're going to get down to talking about what today's video really is about. That right there. No peeps, ain't got no problems. Just throw a few arrows down the range, and we'll talk about it. That wasn't pretty. And before we get to this discussion about my peep, look at one thing real fast. So I threw 3 arrows down the range, cold shots. Hadn't shot, like I said, in several weeks. I'm gonna show you something. All right, so you're gonna say that grip's not that great. Yeah, it's not fantastic. Did you notice anything funky? Well, besides the fact I lost the fletch. This is 3 different arrows, 2 different spines, 3 different point weights, and 3 different vein configurations. And let's see what we got here. That's a dead deer every time. So just to make a quick reference back to my video about how critical it is not being that critical. Don't look good for the old critical crowd, does it? All right, anyway, back to the main point of this video. And we are back. I had to move the video to the front porch. It is hot, it's muggy. Anyway, so I'm in no way suggesting that you should shoot multiple different arrows and spines and tip weights. That's simply just a point that I made to the last video, where don't get sucked into thinking you have to build the most pristine arrow and that you have to buy the most expensive arrow on the market. You can have quite a bit of leeway and still get by with it. Again, 3 different arrows, 2 different spines, 3 different tip weights, 3 different vein configurations, actually 3 different lengths of arrow, and we put them in this at 20 yards. Okay. Now, when in tournaments, that's also a no peep, which is the main point of this video. But we can get the job done. Now, on the most important part of the video, why I choose to shoot without a peep. So, I have been wearing corrective lenses, contact glasses of some sort since I was 10 years old. But in my early 30s, I actually started developing glaucoma. Yes, pretty uncommon for a person of that age. But by the time I got it figured out, I had sustained a little bit of damage. I've had no surgery. I take treatments currently for that, but it has impacted my eyes. Somewhere in my mid-30s, I figured out that my ability to shoot the peep got very, very difficult. The pins got very, very fuzzy. I was having a really hard time focusing, and I honestly didn't. The only suggestions I got from the pro shop was to put in a clarifier or a rectifier. So I put a lens in my scope, put a lens, or my sight housing itself, or put a lens in my peep, which I never attempted, but may have worked as well. But what I come to the conclusion was, actually, I was having a fun shoot one day with some people, and I had a gentleman there. We were talking, and I was complaining about how I was having a hard time seeing my pins. Things were buzzing out. I couldn't focus very well anymore. My eyes get kind of shaky. He said, well, why don't you just take your peep out? It sounds like the most obvious thing on the face of the earth, but to a compound shooter, that's alien. You know, but the more I thought about it, I thought, well, why don't I take my peep out? So that was actually like a late summer type thing, probably shooting. So I went home, took a razor blade, cut the threads, and popped my peep out, and started trying to shoot with it, or without it. And what I come to find was I could still shoot pretty decent now. I wasn't slapping arrow shafts at 50 yards like I could at one time when I was shooting a peep, but I couldn't do that anymore anyway. My eyes had gotten to the point where it allowed that. So I thought about what I knew about anchoring systems and trying to get stabilized. You need three consistent points of anchor. So I went back to my local pro shop and I had them put on the kisser button and the nose button, two things I'd never shot before. Of course, I don't know about anyone else, but at this point, I've never met a single person, even to this day, besides myself, that does not use a peep on a compound bow. And even today, when I go to the pro shop, to the same pro shop I've been going to since I took my peep out, still can't believe I don't shoot a peep. And I'm still the only person that comes in that shop that doesn't shoot one. But anyway, I found three central points of anchor. So I installed the nose button, my kisser button, and then I have a pretty rock solid anchor that I use, and a trigger release. And for me, that's been very successful. Now, at 50 yards and beyond, it's probably not much of an option anymore. There's a lot of variability in that. But for my 20 to 30, which is pretty much all I ever shoot, I can keep it in that pretty consistently, outside of an oddball flyer here and there. So, I feel really good about it. And taking that peep out has allowed me to shoot, to continue to bow hunting and feel comfortable and confident. And not only that, it's also added some time to my hunting. So all of you know who shoot peeps that the very first thing in the morning and the very last light of the day, that you lose a little bit of time because you lose light around that peep, essentially just creating a shadow, and so you'll lose some time. Well, I've gained that back, and it's very, very prominent when you're in a ground blind. All ground blind hunters especially lose that last few minutes of light, of legal light, due to have the darkness of the blind itself and then the peep compounding them. Well, I no longer have that. So for me, I will never go back to shooting the peep ever again. The distance I've lost in no way even comes close to offsetting what I've gained by taking it out. So now I still practice at 40, usually 40, about 45 yards is about all good distance I got where I live at in the subdivision. But that's all the practice distance I need. Just practicing at 45, which I probably can't shoot a deer at 45, but gives me more than enough confidence to feel comfortable shooting at 30 and for damn sure at 20 and in. So just a quick video and to give you guys some thought. Maybe you guys are a little older, or some people might have some problems with their eyesight. Take it out, man. It's really not that big a deal. You might not even need the nose or kisser button, but for me, that gives me a good couple of rock solid, I call it triangulation, like what you would do for GPS and navigation, is that you find 3 points and you triangulate those to get your location. Well, it works the same way for me. I feel this, I feel this, and I feel my anchor. If I can feel those three things, I'm pretty well rock solid. Throw in a fourth if you want to, make sure your bubble's level. Get my bow balanced pretty well, that it kind of levels itself out there all the time, but just one more point you can stick on there. One more thing I will tie in, and that is my anchor on with my release. So I do shoot an index release, but I don't use my index finger. I am a middle finger shooter. What I found with me personally was I was an index release shooter, that I could not find a good consistent anchor. I would float a lot. So what I did was, by switching to my middle finger, which actually felt more natural for me, is I used my index as my anchor, and I found the most solid part of my body, on my face anyway, obviously, is my jawline. And I could take my index finger, fold it completely over, and use this knuckle, this your main knuckle, against my jawline. So I'll allow this portion of my finger from here to here, these two joints, to ride on my jawline. And that gives me my trigger finger here to shoot with. And so I've got solid bone here, from here to here, and solid bone here. There's no movement whatsoever. There's no soft, there's no cush, there's nothing to move or float. So I've got a rock solid bone to bone here. That coupled along with kisser and nose allows me to shoot pretty good. So, you might not need it, but for those that are somewhat struggling, hey, try it out. It may solve a lot of your problems, and it may give you the confidence to start shooting your bow again. Because I was also at the point that I didn't know that I was going to be able to continue shooting. As always, see you guys a while later. Thanks for watching.